welcome to the Deep Dive. Today you and I are plunging into the incredible life and lasting impact of a true giant of history, Avicenna, also known as Ibn Sina.
Ah, yes, Avisa.
This Persian Muslim scholar from the Islamic Golden Age, a period of incredible flourishing in science, philosophy, and the arts in the Middle East, by the way, isn't just a historical footnote. He's a towering figure whose influence resonates even for you today.
Absolutely. We're talking about someone who lived from 980 to 1037 CE, a period of immense intellectual ferment, and, well, he was right at the heart of it.
Right.
What's striking as we look at the sources for you is the sheer breadth of his expertise. He wasn't just good at one thing. He, excelled in medicine, philosophy, and various scientific disciplines.
Exactly. And for this deep dive, we've got a fascinating collection of material painting, a really clear picture of his monumental contributions that I think you'll find truly insightful. Our mission today is pretty straightforward, yet incredibly exciting for us both. To understand why Avicenna is so often called the father of modern medicine, and to really dig into some of the surprisingly modern elements of his thinking and his groundbreaking discoveries.
Yeah.
Okay, let's unpack this by going right to the beginning, shall we?
Sounds good. Let's start with his early brilliance. Born in Bukhara in what is now Uzbekistan in 980 CE, Avicenna was clearly, well, no ordinary child. The sources consistently highlight for you his exceptional intellect from a very young age.
It's almost unbelievable when you read about it. By the age of 10, he had not only memorized the entire Quran, but had also mastered Arabic literature. I mean, that's a feat in itself, but it was just the beginning. What does that kind of rapid mastery tell you about his capacity for knowledge?
It really speaks volumes about his capacity for learning and his intense curiosity, something that undoubtedly fueled his later achievements. By 16, as you'll see in the sources, he was already immersed in the study of medicine, philosophy, physics, and astronomy.
Wow. It's like he absorbed knowledge at an accelerated rate. But his early brilliance was just the foundation for what came next, and that leads us to his most famous work, Al-Canon fi al-Tib, or the Canon of Medicine.
Ah, the Canon.
This wasn't just a book. It became a medical Bible for centuries. What kind of impact do you think a single text holding that much authority would have had?
That's not an exaggeration at all. Completed around 1025 CE, this 5-volume medical encyclopedia held an incredible amount of sway for over 600 years in both European and Islamic medical schools.
600 years.
Think about that, a single text serving as a primary reference for medical knowledge for that length of time. It really speaks to its comprehensive nature and its, well, enduring value for those studying and practicing medicine.
Absolutely. And when you look at what it covered, it's astounding for you to consider. Diseases, treatments, anatomy, pharmacology, medical ethics, it was all there, meticulously detailed.
Yeah.
But here's where I think it gets really impactful for you, our listener. The sources highlight his introduction of clinical trials and evidence-based medicine.
Yes.
I mean, in the 11th century, that's a concept we often think of as much more recent. How did he even begin to think in those terms?
What's truly fascinating here is his emphasis on observation and systematic testing. He wasn't just relying on tradition. He was actively seeking empirical evidence to support medical practices.
Right.
This methodical approach is a cornerstone of modern scientific inquiry, and Avicenna was a clear pioneer in this regard. It wasn't just about recording what he saw, but, trying to understand the effects of different treatments in a structured way.
And his detailed medical descriptions are just incredible for you to explore in these sources. They mentioned he was the first to describe diseases like diabetes and its complications, meningitis, tuberculosis, and even stroke.
Yeah, the level of detail.
These weren't just vague mentions. He provided specific symptoms and progressions. What does that level of detail tell you about his approach to understanding illness?
Exactly. His observational skills were truly remarkable. He was able to identify and differentiate between various ailments with a level of detail that was, frankly, unprecedented for his time. If we connect this to the bigger picture for you, it shows a real commitment to understanding the human body and the nature of disease through careful scrutiny, laying the groundwork for more precise diagnoses later on.
It gets even more ahead of its time. He understood contagion. The sources say he discovered contagious diseases and how they spread through water and soil. He even differentiated between bacterial and viral infections, a truly significant early insight. And he described quarantine methods to prevent disease spread.
Quarantine, yeah.
I mean, talk about being prescient for you, thinking about public health even then. What do you make of that early understanding in the context of his time?
This is where you really see the practical application of his knowledge. He wasn't just theorizing, he was actively thinking about public health and, how to prevent the spread of illness for the benefit of the wider community. The concept of quarantine, which has become so relevant again in recent times for you, has roots that stretch back to his understanding of contagion. It makes you wonder what else he might have deduced with more advanced tools.
And the way he organized the canon is also noteworthy for you to appreciate. It wasn't just a random collection of medical information. He structured diseases by their causes, symptoms, and treatments,
Systematically.
which laid a crucial basis for the systematic medical classification that was later refined in the West. How important was that kind of structured approach for the development of medicine as a field?
Precisely. This systematic approach made the information more accessible and usable for other physicians. It provided a framework for understanding and treating diseases that was incredibly influential for the progression of medical knowledge. And let's not forget the translation into Latin in the 12th century. That was a pivotal moment for you to consider in the transmission of knowledge.
Absolutely. Once it was translated, it became a cornerstone of European medical thought. The sources mention its influence on major figures like Roger Bacon and Andreas Vesalius,
Key figures, definitely.
who are central to the development of Western medicine for you to understand. It's like Avicenna's work provided a foundational layer upon which European medical knowledge was built. What does that tell you about the interconnectedness of intellectual history?
It truly does. His ideas permeated medical education and practice for centuries, shaping the way physicians approach diagnosis and treatment for generations.
Yeah.
Moving beyond the canon for you, his contributions to pharmacology were also significant.
Yes. The sheer number of drugs and herbal medicines he classified is astounding for you to realize, over 760.
760.
That demonstrates an incredible breadth of pharmacological knowledge. How did he amass such a vast understanding of different substances and their effects?
It does. He meticulously documented the properties and uses of these substances, contributing significantly to the understanding of how different agents affect the body. And it wasn't just about cataloging existing remedies for you.
Yeah.
The sources also mention his discovery of sulfuric acid and its medical applications, which was a significant chemical breakthrough with implications for medicine and, well, beyond.
And thinking about pain relief for you, he even developed early concepts of anesthesia using herbal extracts.
Yeah, anesthesia.
That's a fascinating glimpse into early attempts to manage pain during medical procedures. While perhaps not as sophisticated as modern anesthesia, it shows an early understanding of the need to alleviate suffering. What kind of impact might even rudimentary forms of anesthesia have had on surgical practices at the time?
Indeed. While the sources we have for this deep dive don't go into extensive detail about his surgical contributions for you, it's worth noting that he did make advancements in that field as well, further showcasing the breadth of his medical expertise.
Now, shifting gears a bit for you, I find his work on the mind-body connection and mental health particularly progressive for his time.
Oh, absolutely.
He clearly understood that the mind and body weren't separate entities, but were deeply interconnected in influencing overall health. How revolutionary was that idea for the time, do you think?
This is a really important aspect of his work for you to appreciate. He advocated for the idea that mental illnesses should be treated with the same seriousness and approach as physical diseases.
Treating them like physical illness.
Yes, this was a radical departure from many prevailing views at the time, which often stigmatized or misunderstood mental health conditions. It really highlights a more humane and comprehensive understanding of human suffering.
And his therapeutic approaches are just fascinating for you to consider. The sources mention his use of music therapy and even cognitive therapies for mental disorders.
Music therapy, cognitive therapy.
These are techniques that are still used in various forms today. It's quite remarkable to think they were being employed over 1,000 years ago. What does that tell you about the enduring nature of some therapeutic principles?
It really highlights his insightful understanding of the human psyche. He recognized the power of music to influence emotions and the importance of addressing thought patterns in treating mental distress. His linking of emotions to physiological reactions also laid important groundwork for later developments in psychology for you to understand the historical roots of these ideas.
Absolutely. And he didn't shy away from studying complex psychological phenomena for you. The sources note his study of dreams and their interpretations, as well as his descriptions of conditions that sound very much like depression and schizophrenia.
Depression, schizophrenia, yeah.
This demonstrates a keen interest in understanding the full spectrum of human experience. including mental well-being. What does that tell you about his holistic view of human health?
It does. His work in this area reflects a holistic view of health that considered both the physical and the mental aspects of human existence, something that modern medicine is increasingly recognizing again.
Right.
Moving on to his contributions to physics and astronomy for you now. While perhaps not as widely known as his medical work, they were still significant in laying groundwork for future scientific advancements.
Right. The sources highlight his contributions to optics and motion for you. It's fascinating to see that he proposed early ideas related to inertia and momentum concepts that were later fully developed by Newton.
Inertia, momentum, yeah.
He was essentially planting the seeds for some of the fundamental principles of classical mechanics. What does it mean for the development of science when thinkers build upon the foundational ideas of those who came before?
What's particularly noteworthy for you is his argument that an object in motion remains in motion unless acted upon by an external force. This is a clear precursor to Newton's first law of motion. He was grappling with these fundamental concepts of how the physical world operates. It shows an early move towards a more, mechanistic understanding of the universe.
And it wasn't just mechanics for you. He also tackled the nature of light, arguing that the speed of light is finite.
Finite speed of light, yeah.
While the precise measurement came much later, the conceptual understanding was a significant step forward. How important are these kinds of conceptual breakthroughs in paving the way for later empirical discoveries?
Exactly. And his studies extended to the cosmos for you. He delved into celestial motion, and his work in astronomy influenced later astronomers, both within the Islamic world and in Europe. He was contributing to a broader understanding of the universe and our place within it.
So, bringing it all together for you, his legacy is truly immense. The fact that his books were translated into Latin and became central texts in European medical universities until the 17th century?
Until the 17th century.
Really underscores the magnitude of his influence. What does that kind of sustained influence tell you about the quality and impact of his work?
It does. For centuries, if you were studying medicine in Europe, you were likely engaging directly with the ideas of Avicenna. He was a central authority, shaping the curriculum and the understanding of the field for generations of physicians.
And he didn't just influence medical practitioners for you. The sources mention that he inspired later scholars, including giants like Roger Bacon and even Leonardo da Vinci.
Yeah.
Specifically in the areas of anatomy and physics for da Vinci. That's an incredible lineage of influence for you to trace.
It speaks to the power and depth of his insights that they continue to resonate with such influential thinkers centuries later across different fields. And as a final, very tangible symbol of his lasting impact on science for you, we have the Avicenna crater on the moon, named in his honor.
What a powerful testament to his contributions for you to consider. A crater on the moon forever bearing his name.
Right.
And as we set out to do, we've seen clearly why he is so widely recognized as the father of modern medicine. His methods of scientific inquiry, his emphasis on observation and experimentation, truly paved the way for modern research that benefits you today.
Absolutely. His systematic approach, his detailed observations, and his forward-thinking ideas laid a crucial foundation for the advancements that followed, shaping the very way medical science is conducted.
So as we bring this deep dive to a close for you, it's just remarkable to consider Avicenna's vast array of contributions spanning medicine, psychology, pharmacology, physics, and astronomy. Understanding his work really does offer such a valuable lens through which to view the history of science and medicine, doesn't it?
Indeed. And I think the aha moments that stand out for you are his early understanding of contagion and the implementation of quarantine.
Yeah, the quarantine.
The very concept of clinical trials embedded within the canon, and his incredibly progressive and humane approach to mental health. These weren't just fleeting ideas, there were substantive contributions that had a real impact on the development of these fields.
Absolutely. And it leaves me with this final thought for you, our listener. Considering Avicenna's holistic approach to health, one that deeply integrated the mind and body, how might his perspectives inform our understanding of wellness in the modern world?
Good question.
Especially when we consider today's highly specialized medical fields, is there something we can learn from his more integrated view? It's definitely something for you to ponder. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.